must, as Africans, go back to the basics. It's not going to be easy because we have individuals in position of power who want to retain it by any means necessary. But we have also seen that when the people have resolve, those fellows will run away with a suitcase, them and their families. Unfortunate, but sometimes it becomes necessary that they just run away so that they leave us with our countries to reorganize them whichever way we deem fit.
Hello and welcome to Africa Unity Media. To begin, Professor Lumumba reflects on Kenya's early years after independence and how the seeds of ethnic division were planted right from the start.
When Kenya regained our independence, we quickly degenerated into ethnicity. It is true that Jomo Kenyatta attended the 1945 meeting of the Pan-African Congress.
Yes.
It is true that in the early days, there were Kenyans who were in the Pan-African movement, particularly in the labor movement, people like Thomas Joseph Mboya and Dennis Sakumu, they were in the Pan-African movement.
Yes.
But as a nation, we very quickly degenerated into ethnicity. Because we regained independence in 1963 in the entity that is called Kenya. In 1964, we begin to fight from even the very formation of the Kenya African National Union is a Kikuyu-Luo alliance in many ways. KADU is an alliance of the smaller ethnicities. And when KADU dissolves herself and joins KANU, our politics is ethnically defined.
Next, he explains how ethnic leadership became the backbone of Kenyan politics, giving rise to tribal kingpins instead of national visionaries.
And when Odinga formed the Kenya People's Union, no sooner has the party settled that it becomes a Luo party. So that we have always been consumed in politics of ethnic personalities. When the Luos are following their leader, he becomes their leader because he's the ethnic kingpin. The Kenyatta becomes a Kikuyu kingpin. Moi becomes a Kalenjin kingpin. Gideon Gala was also considered in that vein. So we are so consumed in ethnicity that we are incapable of seeing the larger picture.
In the third part, Professor Lumumba warns that even modern educated generations have not escaped this trap. The ghost of ethnicity is still alive.
And you can see even during the struggle for the apartheid movement, the Kenyan foreign policy was ambivalent. You are seen at certain times to be sympathetic to apartheid. We are seen at certain times to be sympathetic to the oppressive forces even in Zimbabwe, then Rhodesia. So our politics has always been the politics of ethnicity and personality worship. And that is why our Pan-Africanism has never been manifest. When you travel out of the country, Kenyans are divided into ethnicities. Even in the United States of America, you find the Abagusi here, the Agikoyo here, the Luos here, the Kambas here. I was invited to the United States of America by Tanzanians. Not Wanyamwezi, not Wahaya, by Tanzanians. But Kenya, ethnicities. You go to Kenyan universities, students are divided into public university. Luo Students Association, Kamba Students Association. You go to the lawyers in Kenya, they are divided into ethnicities. Can you believe it? In the 21st century, professionals are identifying themselves as ethnicities. And then you say we are going to be Pan-Africanism, Pan-Africanist. When do they begin to think about Africa? When enlightened professionals are divided along ethnic lines. They have the Engineering Students Association, they have the Law Society of Kenya, but they are not satisfied with that. They still want to be Abagusi. They still want to be Luo. They still want to be Luhia. They still want to be Kikuyus. They still want to be Kambas. When people reason like that, then they are not good for Africa. They are not good for the unity of Africa. Their village mentality, their education has not liberated them. And I'm therefore answering your direct question that Kenyans must exercise the ghost of negative ethnicity, as Koigi wa Mwere calls it. Exercise that ghost. When the ghost is no longer resident in their minds and hearts, then the spirit of Pan-Africanism will have space. For the moment, that space is occupied by the ghost of ethnicity. So there is no room.
Finally, he broadens the discussion to the entire continent, calling for truth, leadership, and unity across Africa.
You know, the United Republic of Tanzania must remain united. The work that was done by Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere and Sheikh Amri Abeid Karume and their colleagues must not be undone. Tanzania has remained the country that we give as an example where sobriety prevails. It has remained an example of a country which has defeated ethnicity and allowed national unity to occupy pride of place.
Like, I'm assuming that you've advised a lot of African leaders. Do they take you seriously?
You know, sometimes somebody once asked me, you write letters,
Yes.
you say things, why do you do this? Do they ever respond? And this was my answer. This individual was a Christian. And I told the individual, when you read your Bible, there are letters written by Paul to the Corinthians, to the Galatians, to the Philippians, to the Ephesians. Did you ever see reply by Ephesians, response by Corinthians? Our duty is to keep on saying what we consider to be right without the arrogance of believing that we ourselves are always right. That is our duty. To point out that your white garment has a black spot on it, or that your black garment has a white spot on it. Some will dismiss you. Some will hate you for it. But as I said a little earlier, lies take the elevator. Truth walks the stairs, but ultimately it is the one that survives. So in Africa today, some of the things that some of us have been saying are now being proved right. We are being vindicated. I've been at forums before the war in Sudan. I was at a meeting in Bahir Dar in the presence of General Burhan, and I said during that meeting, Sudan is going to burn if you don't take action. Today, Sudan is the way it is.
Crazy.
And the world is silent about, the world talks about Gaza. African media don't even mention Sudan unless they are quoting European agencies, news agencies. There are no African anchors in El Fasher, in Darfur. It is Al Jazeera that is there. It is CNN that is there. So the time is now for African leaders. The other day I wrote to the chair of African Union to stop issuing these quick congratulatory notes when elections are disputed, but instead to be present as a means of resolving the issue. I told them, you are quick to send congratulatory notes to Cameroon, and everybody knows that that president did not win the election. What are you doing? In Tanzania, they have already sent a congratulatory note. In my view, whenever there is a dispute, the first thing you do is to bring the parties together.
Yeah.
So this is the time also to re-examine the efficacy of African institutions. All the regional bodies, we must ask, how are they performing? East African Community, SADC, ECOWAS, Central Africa, Maghreb, IGAD, African Union, COMESA, all of them, we've got to ask, why are they underperforming? Why can they be felt by Africans? If you talk to those who are refugees in Chad from Sudan, or the South Sudanese who are refugees in Kakuma, or the Burundians who are refugees in Kakuma, or the Congolese who are refugees in Rwanda and Uganda, and you tell them there is a body called East African Community or African Union, they'll say, what does that body do? We must, as Africans, go back to the basics. It's not going to be easy because we have individuals in position of power who want to retain it by any means necessary. But we have also seen that when the people have resolve, those fellows will run away with a suitcase, them and their families. Unfortunate, but sometimes it becomes necessary that they just run away so that they leave us with our countries to reorganize them whichever way we deem fit. Thank you.
And those are the words of Professor PLO Lumumba, a reminder that Africa's destiny will not be written by tribal lines, political illusions, or silent institutions, but by a people who reclaim their unity, reclaim their voice, and reclaim their future. If we are to build a continent worthy of its children, then the work begins with us, in our minds, in our choices, and in our courage to rise above ethnicity and stand for Africa. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to our channel and share. Let this message travel far. Let this truth be heard, and let every African know the time for awakening is now.